Alright, what's going on everybody? Ruben here with Alpaca Trading. Gonna go over the plays that we did here March 6, 2019. These were the intraday picks, strictly options. Starting off with Mike's UNP call, so this is Union Pacific Corp, with a put below 165.57. As you can see, key level of support here, it did not break it, and the stock just started trading sideways. So not going to spend too much time on that. Moving on to the next one, AMD. AMD had a very strong support here at around the 22.55 level, which was announced at 12:39 EST by Mike for a put below 22.55. So let's see when it was. So when Mike put this out here, it was right around this area right here. Right, as you can see, the stock in a way broke through that here with this with these two candles, one here and one here. But the AMD had been trading sideways for a little bit, so as you can see, we can expect it to kind of stay in this consolidation area right here until it either breaks above the 50, which it did, and then starts riding the wave up, breaking through the 200, and then eventually retesting that 22.55, right? So this was one of those times when it was a really difficult kind of play to be patient with, I guess, because if you would have been looking at this in the 1 minute chart, this would have been probably where you would have exited. But if you go back and look at the 5 minute chart, right, it was basically trying to confirm above the 50, which it never did, and then eventually it came down, and you could have just made a little bit of profit here through that 22.55 all the way down to 22.40. So AMD is something that kind of it happened, but it happened late today, and which is why I think that AMD may continue its downward momentum tomorrow. So again, this is one of those times where it could have confirmed below it, but then it went back up, and then it retested again. It came back down, but it happened very late in the game. And if you guys were looking at the 1 minute or 3 minute charts, you would probably have gotten stopped out here at some point, unless you wanted to be patient. So let's talk about that. Okay, let's talk about what do you do, right? If you know what, because everybody's on the 1 minute chart, I want to just kind of look here. Okay, so what could you have done to have stayed in this play, or what could you have used to stay in this play despite it going the opposite direction, right? Well, look at, so if 22.55 was the magic number for a put, but then it started going the opposite direction, right? What you want to see is, if I go to the 3 minute chart, right, notice how as the moment that it started coming down here, if you compare it with this next area of resistance, right, it created a higher low. So when a stock moves against the direction of your choice, right, in this case we wanted to put, ask yourself, once it stops, once it reverts again, did it create a lower high? So if you compare this with this, it did. So as it was coming down, right, it consolidated, created a lower high compared to here. Then it consolidated, created another lower high. Then it came down here, it created another lower high. But it did it near that level of support. So this is more like, this is not even a lower high, this is more like just like consolidation. But then as it tried to go back and reverse on us, it came back down again, and it did not go above this previous high. So if you wanted to stay and be patient, you could technically have waited for it and set your stop loss in the next area of resistance, which was around 22.92. You would have entered at 22.55. That would have been basically a 40-cent risk to make, you know, a 20-cent move, which again, in this case, it would not have worked out very pretty. But if you would have held the stock until tomorrow, the option until tomorrow, it may have been profitable tomorrow. So again, not all plays are going to work the way we want them to, but the idea is to understand when to cover your losses. So if you covered your losses at the break of the 50, perfect. If you did stay and held this overnight, there's a big chance that it's going to make you money tomorrow. As you guys can see, after hours, it hit a new low of 22.34. So again, it's all about patience, but also about knowing when to cover your losses. If you covered your losses here, perfectly fine. I would have probably done the same thing. Okay, let's go to Amazon. Okay, so Amazon, again, posted by Mike. Entry below 1672.25. Right here, 1672.25. A put below here. I'm on the 3-minute chart. Let's see what it looks like on the 1-minute chart. So as you can see, it broke through 1672.25. Actually, when was this announced? At 12:43, right? So right around here in this area. So as you can see, it broke through with 3 candles, okay? But then it basically reversed itself, and it would have gone about $11 against you, which would obviously have stopped you out, which is not good. But eventually, it came down again. So 2 things to understand. If the stock at any point breaks that key level of support, it already broke it, which means that if it was willing to go that low and confirm below it, it's probably going to do it again throughout the day, even though the stock is going to come back up and then come back down. This was a very, very difficult play because Amazon contracts are expensive, and this would have made you freak out. So here's my suggestion. Okay, here's my suggestion. Especially if you're trading Amazon. This is a 1-minute chart. This chart, for our intents and purposes, in my opinion, is way too noisy. It's just too noisy, right? Like, this confirmed only for like 3 or 4 minutes, and then it just went the opposite direction. So would you have entered here if you would have used a 5-minute chart? Nope. See? On the 5-minute chart, it did not confirm below it. But then it did, right here. It retested it, and it came back down. And look at everything it's doing after hours. So if you would have entered based on the 5-minute chart, it would have been a good play. Let's look at the 3-minute chart. I mean, yeah, it kind of closed below it, but this is more like a crappy candle, and then you have this over here. So on the 3-minute chart, it kind of confirmed too, but when it was doing that, you can see the MACD line here was also about to reverse. So that would have maybe have been an indication that, you know, probably not a good time to enter. But then again, 3-minute chart confirmed here, and then you could have basically kept it overnight and made some money. So this is a good example of how different time frames will help you make better decisions. For quick scalps, 1-minute chart, always good. Obviously, even for the plays that we always play, 1-minute chart is good. But for something like Amazon, you know, maybe the 5-minute chart would have been better for you guys to wait for that confirmation. As you guys can see, it's it's less crowded, less busy, lets you look at the big picture in a much easier way. So hopefully that made sense. Let's look at SPY SPY was on a crazy downtrend today. Okay, so SPY below 277.32. I'm just gonna delete this real quick from yesterday. 277.32 announced at 12:52. So 12:52 is right around here. Broke below it, retested it, came back, retested it to, and then it basically never went below it. So again, this was a play that you could have made money right here. Basically just 25-cent move, which is not a lot, but this is, again, if it doesn't happen today, it's probably going to happen tomorrow. And right after it, let's look at the 1 minute chart actually. So as you can see on the 1 minute chart, it did confirm and break down through it, but then eventually you would have sold here with the 6 and the 12 crossing over. If you didn't, you would have waited for it to retest the 50, which it did not. Came back down again, hit a low of 277.06, and that's pretty close to that whole number. And as you can see, if it rejected it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, it was probably going to reject it the 5th time, and then again, war zone. Like seriously, like 6, 12, 50 altogether. Right here, just a mess. Eventually, it bounced off to 200 on the 1 minute chart, and then it came back down to test the 277.32. Used it as support, came back up, created this triple top, and then it just boom, came all the way down again to a low of 276.97. So again, this was a pretty kind of crappy situation to be put in here, just because of how it was trending sideways. But the biggest play today happened, of course, from here all the way down to here. And this was, if I just look at give me 1 second. Oh yeah, no, Kayla was not active today. Intraday picks. So I think that SPY is definitely going to continue its downtrend tomorrow, but as you guys can see here, this is an example of where the play just did not pan out in our favor, but you could have made some money on just this, basically this small move that it did right here. And this is why SPY is something that should be traded only by experienced people, because SPY will sometimes just do the opposite of what you want it to do. And if we would have looked at here, right around when it started going back up to here, we also confirmed that with the cross of the MACD and the signal line, and also a reversal of the RSI. So again, if I would have put my candle, if I would have put my mouse right, let's say compared this candle right here to this candle right here and this candle right here. So this candle and this candle, the RSI is down here and the RSI is down here. That's bullish divergence, which means that eventually the stock's probably going to continue going up. So things to think about when entering SPY. It's kind of like a risky play, especially if you do it more towards lunchtime, like 12 p.m., 1 p.m. SPY usually does its biggest moves during the first 3-4 hours of the trading day. All right, so that is all I have for you guys today in regards to our option plays. I think the swing plays worked out for a lot of people today. We look forward to being back tomorrow with more awesome plays. Hopefully the market will move in our favor, and you guys will be able to make more money tomorrow. Thanks again. I will see you guys on the next recap.